Alright guys, welcome back to today's video where we're going to be exploring the F5E Tigris and all it has to offer to War Thunder. Alright, so the F5's takeoff is nothing too special, don't really need to talk about it too much, but its landing is pretty nice for what plane it is. You get to drop your flaps relatively early and you can drop them at relatively high speeds. Your landing gear is pretty nice. I do like the brakes on the landing gear and it's really responsive. You don't really have to do it for too long. You're not going to be using the entire runway if you do it correctly. And it's also really good at dropping altitude and lowering speed when you need to. The air brakes are really nice in this aircraft. I'm a huge fan of the air brakes. Alright, so the F5's agility is really good. This plane is not only really good at turning, it can also keep its speed while turning, which is very important in dogfights. Its climb is pretty good. It has a 116 climb, which is pretty good, and when you spaded it, it goes up to 150, including missiles. But I would like to talk more about how this thing can keep its speed while turning. This thing will outturn most planes, and the planes that it can't outturn, it will usually out-energy fight it, because this thing can really hold the energy. Alright, so this one is a hard one. The F5 has a lot of good playstyles. This thing can be strike, this thing can be an excellent dogfighter, and it can also be a high altitude fighter. This thing has a lot of very good ways you can play it, but the thing that I like to use is I like to be a low altitude dogfighter with this thing, because you have some very nice RWR, but you also don't have any radar missiles that could really be extended at high altitude, and this thing can turn very well. This thing has a decent amount of flares, and it also has a okay missile. It's AIM-9Js when it's spaded, and it's AIM-9Es just out of the bat, which AIM-9Es I really don't like. So when you first get this plane, you're going to be getting a lot of gun kills, but the AIM-9Js are an improvement. You do get that 20/G, which is pretty good, and you also get a lot of bombs, and you get a Gatling gun, which is really nice. The F5's radar is really good. It's not too used since you have no radar missiles, but its RWR is really nice. The radar has 30 kilometers of range and is I-band, and the RWR is E and J band and has launch detection, which is really useful, especially when you're flying high altitude, which you can do. It's one of the play styles that you could be using a lot. And the launch detection comes in handy when you are obviously getting fired upon and you don't know where it's coming from. But the radar can also detect planes that are behind you that just have the radar on, not only just radar missiles. So you could see someone who's, say, sneaking up on you when you wouldn't be notified that they were sneaking up on you, which can save your life, which it has saved my life many times and will probably save my life many times after this video's ended. The F5's price is standing at $830,000 to buy the plane and $240,000 to train the crew. It's a pretty normal cost for a plane of this BR. I do think it's worth it though. So this plane has a pretty good acceleration. It's pretty good because it's a light aircraft and it's got a pretty good engine, but this thing has very good energy retention. When you turn, you can see in the clip right now, I am barely losing speed. I'm doing flips and everything. You do take a lot of G's though. Take a lot of G's, and that stresses out your crew a bit, but you don't really need to worry about losing speed while turning. Alright, so the F5E comes with AIM-9Es to start with. That's your default missile, comes with the plane, and I really don't like AIM-9Es. They are really bad, especially for this kind of plane that's like dogfighting. So you're going to want to try to get those AIM-9Js pretty quickly, because the AIM-9Js are pretty decent dogfighting missiles. They're limited range, but they have a pretty decent seeker head, and they've got a pretty good amount of G tolerance. So you're going to want to try to get those as quick as possible, and after that you're going to probably get a bit more missile kills, because the AIM-9Js are a much better dogfighting missile. Alright, so this plane has a battle rating of 10.7 in air RB and ground RB, and it has a battle rating of 11.0 in archaic matches, which is a pretty good BR. This plane is only really practical if you like dogfighting. You can use it to bomb bases and in ground RB, but it's really a dogfighter at heart. And if you find dogfighting entertaining and you really like to do dogfights, then this is a pretty good plane for you. You are also going to be getting a lot of gun kills. This plane is good at a lot of things, but what it really sticks out in is dogfighting. This plane is a dogfighter, so if you enjoy dogfighting, then I would advise getting this plane, and it will be worth the money. But other than that, this is the end of the video, so if you did like the video, think about subscribing. I'm a small YouTube channel and it helps me out a lot. And if you did like the video, then think about liking, and if there's anything that you think I could improve on, put it in the comments. Other than that, if you are still looking for entertainment, then I would advise checking out the Goopy Goobler. His link to his new video will be in the description.